Hey everybody. All right. So this is part two of inking that my latest page for Occult Descent, Volume 2, currently on Kickstarter. Check it out. The link is in the description. Um, I figured, yeah, just showing this whole page is fine. It's not a real spoiler or anything. Sakal is fighting a bunch of people. So and you see you get to kind of see how badass he is and this character here that's the Lieutenant Wycheck, and I'm not 100% how to pronounce that name. I should probably like look it up or something. I know that the spelling for it is correct, so I guess I'll just let people try to pronounce it for themselves and figure it out later. When I looked it up online, it's I it said it was Polish, and I was like, okay, cool. So this figured that Lieutenant Lady would be like from Poland before her vampire life happened. And yeah, in this world, vampires live amongst humans. They are apprehensively accepted into society. So it's yeah, they don't quite gel with each other just yet. And these vampires live to like 300 to 400 years, which I mean that's a long time. So who knows when she was living in Poland or where when she got turned into a vampire. Who knows? The jury's out on that. Maybe I'll get to it at some point. Uh, I guess a little bit of a spoiler. I don't get to it on this volume. um, yeah, so she was able to sneak up behind him and get his arm. She was trying to go for his heart, but he's pretty fast too. Um, the back muscles, I remember working on those for the pencils, and at the for everything. Usually, when I start drawing, I try to do it all right out of my head, and like not look at reference. Like I'd say 95% of the time, I try to do that, and then wherever I'm having trouble with the sticking area, I'll try to like look up first I try to look up in a comic book anyway, so I get if there's like a close resemblance in my characters, their posture or whatever. If I can find a comic like that, like even if it's a arm or a leg, whatever, I'll like try to go from that first. For if it's for anatomy, I guess if it's for shading, I try to do the same thing. For shadows, um, shadows. I don't know. I tend to like look up how they do the patterns for the shadows, like hatching and cross hatching and stuff. But it seems like way easier if I grab like an action figure, and just kind of like tilt it in the light. And it's like, okay, well, it seems pretty believable enough. And then even from there, though, it's like you gotta decide which parts of the face or parts of the body that you want like completely black shadow, or if you really want, you could just do like a bunch of cross hatching, which is what I I tend to do. I don't mean to do that all the time, but like I think I mentioned that before. It's like once you start, it's like you can't stop, and it's like no, just a little bit more. Um, Whereas if you just black it out, you won't even have to worry about all the extra cross hatching stuff, or and then you run the risk of making the whole picture or area that you're trying to make look 3D or whatever. You just flatten it out. Um, how did I get talking on that again? Oh yeah, the back. So his back. I tried to look in some comics, but I didn't really find anything. So I ended up just, and it took a long time too, because I'm like flipping through stuff and I don't find what I'm looking for. So then I'll just like put it away, and then I notice there's a message on my phone, so I'll go look at that, and then next thing you know, it's like a half hour goes by because I got lost in my phone just clicking on things, and I ended up just going out, drawing it all from my head anyway, like the back muscles. They To me they look good. I'm sure they're not quite accurate, especially the back behind the shoulder areas. Like even on people, like if you watch MMA fights, the professional MMA fights anyway, you could see like their backs. To me, it feels like there's no two backs that are the same on even on people because the muscle striations and stuff and their bone structure. So um, it's a little frustrating for me. I guess for any artist really that's drawing backs. Um, so that's why the to me especially the I was like, oh, this back looks fine then because I mean they all look I was going to say they all look so different, but they look similar. But when you start putting in the details, that's when they differ. And sometimes, like when like I just want to draw like muscly backs all the time. But when you see people's backs, a lot of times, even the big guys, you like see their ribs, especially if they stretch out. You could see like their rib cage in their backs anyway. It's not like they're emaciated or anything, but like you could see the ridges, the kind of like the bumps to their ribs. And I don't want to I don't want to show ribs. The only time I do want to do that is if I'm purposely trying to make someone look like they're starved or whatever, or if they've been in prison for years or something. I don't know, like a situation like that anyway. Otherwise, I just want to draw muscly backs. um, Oh, and then I was keeping in mind the reference for the blood on this guy's hand, Sakal's hand, because his hands were just in two vampires' chests. He like took their hearts out and he eats them. Yeah, because he's like Sakal is a monster among the vampires. He's a mutant vampire, and anyway, so yeah, the blood I was keeping in mind the blood pattern uh, spattering and stuff. The John Malin blood patter. I don't even know what the heck I'm saying, but the John Malin how he draws these blood splatters. I think that they look pretty cool, and so I was trying to repeat that. However, looking at this video now, I think put a little. I put like three circles there by his right wrist. I'm gonna have to. I I I'm looking at the picture now, and they're still there. So I'm gonna correct that with some whiteout because I don't want to I don't want it to look like that. Maybe I'll adjust one of them. I I think three of them of pretty similar size, close clumped together like that, doesn't look that appealing to me. Which is the whole reason why I was referencing John Malin's work for the blood spatter because it just looks really interesting. Um, and then for her hands, I was you could see I messed up. I don't know if maybe you could tell I messed up on there, but um, I was doing that because I wasn't quite sure how the fingers were wrapping around the sword that she's holding. When I did that with pencils, it kind of looked like a little bit of a mess. And I was like whatever, I'll challenge myself. I'll find the details in the inks, which I did, but I messed up a few times though. So anyway, that's what the whiteout's for. Oh, and then this, um, I guess this could kind of be like dust, maybe think if you want to think of it that way. I was just doing these to not just keep doing the same speed lines over and over. I seen this in Joe Mad's. I think it's Inhumans #2 that he was drawing. He drew the first three issues. Uh, I think it was in issue 2, might be issue 3, but there was a background anyway where there was like an action scene happening, and he had this kind of like it wasn't really exactly it wasn't exactly speed lines. I mean, there's a little bit of, but it makes it look like something very fast is happening, like everything's at high speed. I mean, that's how it looked to me anyway. So I was like, man, that looks cool. I'll take that. um in that issue of Inhumans, that you've all three of the issues that Joe Mad did, he did that with pencil, and the colorist was Mar- Marty Gracia. I might not be saying that right, but yeah, the colorist anyway. He looks pretty good over those just pencils. I remember a lot of people complaining about Ultimates Ultimates 3 that Joe Mad did. I mean, the colors on it, not his actual pencils. Because I got an issue. I was only able to get the first issue though, where you could see the pencils, and they're amazing. I did see. There's a YouTube video if you want to check. I think this guy he flips through the whole thing. It's like I believe it's a hardcover book, and it has like all the issues on there. I tried to look it up on eBay, but I couldn't find it. If it is on there, I imagine it's kind of pricey. Uh, oh, and there's a little bit of I think we already went past it, but yeah, I was adding some detail on the background there that was off camera, so I just skipped past it. I edited it out. It was probably like 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, in this video, I sped it up to 5.1. It was about 3 hours 45 minutes. It took me, and at the end, it felt like I was starting to slow down because I was base. I mean, I guess I'll talk about it when I get there. It was um that's where I kind of get in my troubleshooting area. Like, okay, which parts am I forgetting about? Which parts of the page aren't working? So that's when I'll do the like whiteouts and adding a little bit more detail, or maybe I didn't fill in the blacks like completely up to the lines, um, which is a little tougher because this I have the camera's like right next to my head, and I'm trying not to bump it. Um, Whereas like when I'm not when I'm not recording this, sometimes I'll get my face like really close to the paper just to make sure I blacked out everything, or if I'm trying to get a taper on a line like perfect, things like that, where I don't want to stick my head like right in front of this camera. So, and there's also another area. I'll bring it up when we get past this panel. I'm almost done with this panel. I did want to show the bone and the like muscle for this guy's shoulder, Sakal's shoulder. When his arm's getting lopped off there, but like I couldn't quite make up my mind, so I was kind of saving that till the end. And for the back, like suddenly, see, I'm filling in like little black spots, but suddenly I started wanting to render everything. I was like, no, this is way too open and naked. I gotta add more either details, like not hard lines or anything, but like details through hatching, or get more gray on there. I was really trying to fight the urge to not do so much hatching, cross hatching. So, I mean, I think I did pretty all right. I like how it looks using the. You'll probably hear me repeat this a lot in all my videos, but I always think of the Todd McFarlane every time I'm setting up a page or a panel. Todd McFarlane, like the got to make it as visually appealing as you can. Put like the things. The arm is in front of the sword. The blood is streaking off. It looks trying to make it look like it's in movement. Even the background stuff that I told you, it was like um was referencing from a Joe Mad page, because it looks like it's moving. Try to like make everything in the hair. Try to make it look like it's in motion. Like, and then Sakal is, well, he's bigger than everybody, but I try to make him look like he's bigger as he's closer to the camera, and make her even smaller because she's farther away from the camera. Uh, I don't think I achieved that as good as I wanted, because, in fact, to me, Sakal looks smaller in this panel compared to the other panels. Um, but anyway, yeah, it's what I'm trying to do anyway. I don't uh, I don't succeed every time, not as much as I would like, but whatever. It's a learning. Chalk it up to the learning curve. Practice. Uh, what I was doing his hair. I was just doing like these streaks, random lines, and then I was like, I'll just fill it in later, and kind of ignored it. But now that I'm doing the hair, I'm like, I really should have figured out what I was doing, because like it doesn't. The shape looks weird to me, so I'll kind of keep adding to that to where it looks, yeah, to where just like the back, to where it looks good to me. There's, but I mean, like, even I don't, there's like that whole not being able to please everybody. There's been a lot of times where I'd draw something I think looks great, and then when I would bring my work to get uh, my portfolio to get reviewed at a comic convention, sometimes what the older pros would be like, "What what is this? What well?" And then yeah, I wouldn't, I would do my best to not be defensive of my work or anything, but when they ask me a question, like, what are you trying to do here? I'd try to explain what I was going for, and they're like, no, that you're not selling it right. But to me, it looked fine. Like, as an example, I'm thinking of when I was referencing I took a picture of the side of my hoodie when I was wearing it for the clothing wrinkles, and like I thought I was doing that good, but this guy was looking at my work. He's like, uh, when you do this, when you do these clothing folds, you got to use reference. I didn't tell him that I was using reference, because I did use reference, and I was like, man, if it's that bad, I don't even want to mention that I was using reference. But yeah, that's, I forget how I got on that subject, but all right. So I decided, because I was about to start rendering this stuff, I was like, no, 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 black this arm out. It's farther away, and it's at a slight angle. So I think I could get away with just blacking it out, and then, you know, so it really pops out that blood splatter. And I think I'll go, looking at it now, I think I'll add a few more blood droplets to the arm. But I think it looks cool, blacking it out like that, and then using minimal. To me, it's minimal hatching. Normally, I would just, because the previous page to this, I drew a picture of Sakal. He was fighting like three or four of these guys, and I went too far, I think, with the hatching. Had, but I was really happy with the pose. I was like, man, this is a great pose. This looks awesome. But then I hatched the heck out of it, and I was like, there's something wrong with this. But and I stayed on it for like an extra day, trying to like white stuff out, and then add add more hatching and take hatching away. And I was like, whatever, I'll try to figure this out on the next page. I can't just spend extra days trying to fix one panel. So yeah, I was like pretty happy about that. I was like able to stop hatching so much. Um, I still keep in mind the one critique I got from uh, Dave Finch when he said, he goes, I wouldn't call it your a strong suit, but it's competent, which is cool. I'm happy about that. It's better than a lot of the reviews I got. So I'm learning, but like I just want to hatch the heck out of stuff and make it look super cool. You know, like Silvestri and Jim Lee and um I don't know. Joe Mad sometimes he does some really good hatching, but he seems to stay away from hatching. More like solid shadows that he uses from the work I looked at anyway. But and like Michael Turner also, back when he did a lot of hatching before he started just keeping it all open line work. Like I want to be, that good at hatching. And maybe I was thinking like maybe I should because I'm using these marker pens. If I get better at using the more traditional tools of like pen nibs and the brushes, I don't know, whatever. Oh, and so I did stop for a few hours there. You'll see that the camera just changed. What was I doing? I had to do something. I think I was making coffee, and then I went and checked the mail. But yeah, so I stopped for like 2 hours. Oh, and then I had to recharge my phone because it was a low battery. I remember that's what it was. And yeah, also I didn't mind taking a break either. So I think I was watching. Well, I was watching part of a movie. Then I also watched a. I was halfway through a Rob Liefeld Robservations. So anyway, I watched that, and then I got back to work on this. Oh yeah, so okay, here's the last panel. If you see her leg there, it's cropped out right at the knee, which I don't know if how readers read it when they're looking at comics, but as someone that's been getting his portfolio reviewed by comic book artists, that's a no-no because you're not supposed to crop figures off at their joints because it's they call them tangents, which is basically just when the when the reader when you're reading a comic, it like pulls uh, their attention to that spot. They call it, which is called a tangent. I mean, if it's unintentionally put to draws attention to a spot, is called a tangent. Kind of like when just things just look weird is another way to explain it. So cropping her knee like that is not good. But I didn't want her. I know I could have lifted her leg up a bit, but it didn't. I didn't. I don't know. It didn't. It didn't seem as cool to me. Like the body positioning. If I put the, I know I could put like the knee kind of pointed more towards the camera there. Um, but whatever. I I was like, oh, I'll deal with that later. But now that I'm looking at it and thinking it over more, I think I'll just have her like foot kind of pulled back even more and have it overlap the panel. Which that doing that might frustrate some people because Sakal, he's already. I mean, okay, so it's a little bit more of a story here. um, her sword is going over this panel, and because of that, it's like, why is Sakal popping out of the panel? Also, uh, I mean, I've got critiques like that when I was from pros when I would have them look at my work. It's like, you know, one if one person from another panel is crossing over, it's like then the person from the previous or from whatever it was like one person from a panel crossing over per limit, you know, like only one panel could cross over another. It's not like two panels could cross over each other. uh but I don't know, I thought it looked cool having Sakal there. So hopefully it doesn't frustrate any other readers for the comic anyway. And then I'm gonna have her leg going over the panel again, which I mean, if I guess just to get rid of that tangent anyway. But I mean, I don't know. That might be creating a tangent of my own doing that because, like, well, why isn't Sakal's feet sticking out of the panel then if hers are? I don't know. That's maybe I'll just wait out the leg and, like I said, I'll point it towards the camera, which I think weakens the pose, but at least it'll get me out of that tight spot of deciding which leg or what to break the panel borders from. Oh, and then yeah, of course, the call is naked here, so I'm trying to figure out how to shadow this. And I was going to do like a dust cloud and have that kind of cover up everything, but I don't want to use the dust cloud too much. Like I'll kind of go back and forth with shadows and dust clouds, so it's not just like doing one trick over and over. So yeah, that area of him is going to be all just solid black, shadowed out. And I also drew veins on his arms and chest because I think that helps make him look more extreme. Rob Liefeld extreme. No, dynamic. And so from now on, from this page on, that panel on, I'm gonna start drawing him with more veins, vascular. I guess yeah, as and his face is gonna get a little bit more contorted on not contorted, but yeah, he's gonna do little transformations because he's something just happened to him before this page, a couple pages before this, where he had to kind of recover from it, and he's like slowly transforming into more of a monster looking guy, a villain, whatever. And this hair, man, I went through I did this hair, and then I was looking at everything else. I was like wasn't even focused on the hair anymore, so it looks dumb to me. I already corrected it, and then but I didn't record it after I did that. I was just kind of looking at it. Um, I got up and like looked around, and I noticed the hair suddenly, and I was like, ah, I was I didn't want to get everything all set up again just to record me uh, fixing his hair. so it doesn't look so I don't know. I'm trying. It reminds me of a cartoon character. I can't quite think of it right now. It was from like the '80s, but yeah, he just had like a. His hair was just like big and puffy and pulled back. It was something like Care Bears, but it wasn't Care Bears. Maybe it was like a bad guy from the Gummy Bears. I don't know. And yeah, then his wherever I could draw something that can move, I want to draw that moving, which I did that with the hair. I had more like strands like flapping around for this last panel of Sakal's hair. And then yeah, he's flicking away uh, Lieutenant Wycheck there with Cutter. So all her entrails are going everywhere. She dropped her sword. She has two magical weapons with her. It's one is that sword, looks pretty cool, and then she has a knife. She used the knife in the first volume. I don't really want to go say what the knife does because I think that's a bit of a spoiler. There are things like the only spoiler for volume one that I have to go through to talk about volume two is that Henry does get abducted by Sakal, and then Andy, his friend who was a police detective, she becomes a member of the VACU, Vampire Assault Case Unit. They deal with vampire attacks. She joins them to get Henry back and stop Sakal. But other than that, there's like three other spoilers I would say in the book. Drawing these entrails, it looks like I'm just doing a straight line. I mean, on my phone anyway, because the screen's so small. But they're it's not a straight line. I'm trying to make them look like they're intestines, and I wasn't sure about the how to because I wanted to draw like the blood like I can't speak like it's exploding from her stomach, but see he's Sakal is swinging one way. He's not like I don't know. It's not like a water balloon where like like when you throw a water balloon it just blows up, which I thought would look cool. But the trajectory, I was like, I better just kind of keep everything focused going one way. You could kind of see it in the pencils that what I was going for to make it just look more exploding. But if if I yeah, if I would have really leaned into it, it would just like you would barely even be able to see the lieutenant here. You'd just see mostly a big blood explosion. Um, I think this looks all right to me for the attack he dealt to her. I mean, she took his arm, so and she's a vampire. He didn't get her heart, so she's gonna be able to continue scrapping at some point. Anyway, these vampires don't heal instantly. Not in my book anyway. Um, oh man, that leg is bothering me. Yeah, I don't think I'll have her break the panel border, but I'm gonna white that out and like have the knee like point more towards us how we're looking at it, and then have her foot behind that. Um, yeah, I think I'll do that, and I'll take a picture of it and use that for the thumbnail. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll use the panel above it because that does look kind of cool. I guess you guys will know what it looks like because you've already seen it before you clicked on the video. I don't know how I'll do it right now because I'm still making up my mind on it. So now I'm erasing uh, some little parts that were stuck, and then I do like to erase the area before I'm about to add whiteout to it, which I think that's what I'm gonna do for this. Oh, maybe not. I guess I'm adding more blood, but that before I add whiteout to something, I do try to erase as much of the pencil stuff that will come up anyway. I can't. It looks pretty good looking on the screen, but there's like little areas where you could see the pencil lining where I was trying to erase, but doesn't fully pick up. I added blood there on her sword. I kind of sometimes I forget. I was watching some Rob Norton videos uh, where he points out he's kind of known for critiquing Rob Liefeld's comic books. Uh, and anyway, he was pointing out like even on the same page, sometimes like a guy will be holding a sword, like one sword, and then like a panel or two later, he'll have two swords, and then he'll have no swords. Like all of that on the same page, things like that, or like someone will have a rifle that they're holding, then suddenly it's a handgun. Uh, anyway, I could totally see how how someone does that because I do that almost all the time, especially because like I'm putting spending so much time on one panel, or if I take a break, like if I couldn't finish the page for the day, I'll go to sleep, or if I got to go do something and I come back, I'm not even looking at the other panel anymore. I'm just like focused on the current panel. So that's what was up with the adding blood on the sword as an example. I have forgot to draw the knife that Lieutenant Wycheck has on her side, and I forgot to draw the sword that was on her back. And that was after I already sent it to my colorist Tanya Wicker, and she delivered it back. I was like, "Oh, great! This is awesome." It's like no corrections because I forgot to draw some stuff. So even currently, like now, I still have to correct a couple of those pages. I think I'll just put them in as completely black, as just like the outline of the sword or the knife and the belt that's connected to it. Uh, oh, and then for this, so now I'm adding the speed lines. I really like adding speed lines, uh, but I sped it up. I sped this up to 7.1, and for this part, because it's just a ruler and lining it up to it was I put the focal point on that guy's back, so all the lines point to that guy's back, and I got more speed lines coming in because it's just a ruler. It's nothing like fancy, and otherwise I try to keep these slowed down as much as I can without it taking up a ton of time. I think 40-45 minutes is that's something like I would watch if it was more than that. Like I would if I did want to watch it, I would break it up, but I'd be more inclined to kind of just like, maybe I'll watch it at some point in my life. Not so much a priority. Uh, but I did notice, like, so I try to, my strategy with, with these is I go really slow until I get towards the end and then I speed up to get that tapered line look. And I'm lining up the speed lines with the panel for this one. For the other one, I just did the vanishing point, like when you do perspective grids. And I did the pencil work there to kind of show my stopping point and add a little bit of a pattern. I did those little Travis Schrey dots at the end there. That's what I call them anyway, because I noticed that on his Wildcats when he was doing his rendering. The leather on these guys are all black. When they're farther away from the camera, I'll tend to just black everything out of their leather. But if they're closer to the camera, like you could see this that guy's hand peeking through from panel one. I'll just put like blacks in areas to where it looks like the glove has highlights. But I didn't do that on this video. So I did his pouches there, black. But anyway, I got to go back and do fix his gloves. I had like a mental checklist on these things, and I'm looking at the page now. So I still got to do his gloves, and I did do his hair already, but I didn't record that. So the hair on this last panel of him, it looked way too static and goofy. And also his arm too. I forgot to draw the bone and the muscle and like blood kind of coming off of there. So apparently I did that because I could see it right now. I thought I had it recorded, but I don't. And it's getting towards the end of the video. Thanks for making it this far. Please check out the Kickstarter link. I'll have that in the description. I think you'll like it if you like horror, vampires, and gets a little bit of comedy in there. See, I should show a preview of this page, but all right, that'll be it. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.